So let's talk about what I've found to be from embodied experience, just simple, helpful hacks that will help inspire. The intention is that they help inspire and motivate you to get going with a sadhana. So the first tip is to engage your senses. So practice sensuality. Sensuality is engaging the innate intelligence of the senses of the body. This engages the vitality of the body, the intuition of the body. So, how can we do that in our sadhana? Let's go through each of the senses. Sight. I like to create a visually, aesthetically inspiring space, a space that looks beautiful. Beauty is an expression of divinity. Beauty is one of the ways that the divine expresses itself, right? Look at a sunset. Look at a scenic mountain view. Look at a newborn baby. Beauty, perfection, right? So if we can create a space that's perfectly imperfect, but visually inspiring, that helps. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Sound. So the moment I open my eyes in the morning, I'll start to set up my space. And one of those things includes turning on in the background with my speaker, a playlist. And typically, I recommend to clients to play music that doesn't have lyrics in English, because if we start to hear lyrics first thing in the morning, it engages the head brain, it engages the thinking mind, and we can start to hook on to that. So I recommend either classical music. I'm a huge fan of solfeggio Hertz music. So Hertz music, you can find Hertz playlists on Spotify that align with each of the chakras. In Kundalini, we love to listen to gongs. It's literally bathing the subconscious, calming down the mind. And commonly, I'll listen to some devotional music. I have a whole playlist called Devotion, which is all Kundalini chanting, Krishna Das. These are things that are in Sanskrit and Gurmukhi, which are spiritual languages that are infusing whatever it is that you're choosing to listen to. It's infusing the space of your practice with sound, with vibration. And sound and vibration in the tantric lineage, they move stagnant energy. So sound is really valuable. Put on a playlist that's easy, repeat it, have it be soothing, let it land in your body in a way that nourishes you best. The next one is taste. So I'm a huge fan of making a warm, yummy elixir first thing. So I wake up, I turn on the kettle, I put on my Spotify playlist, and I'll make either Tulsi tea. So for those of you who follow my work, I'm a huge fan of Tulsi tea, also known as holy basil. It's an adaptogen. It helps to calm down the nervous system. It's kind of like got like a citrusy flavor, really, really yummy. I like it hot and iced. Or you could make a warm, yummy cacao or golden milk with turmeric. I prefer to avoid caffeine just because caffeine's going to flood the body with stress hormones, and we're trying to do the opposite with our daily practice. But if you need coffee, go for it. So taste a warm elixir, warm lemon water, things like that. And then I'll bring my elixir to my altar. Then we're moving through scent. So I will light inspiring candles that smell good, that have essential oils in them. I'll light an incense. I'll burn some sage and smudge my space. So now I've got the music playing. I'm sipping on my tea. It looks beautiful. I'm petting my dog. And the last thing is touch. So this looks like maybe body brushing. I'm a huge proponent of body brushing first thing in the morning. If you're unfamiliar with what that is or how to do it, on my YouTube channel, I have a whole playlist called the Embodiment Series that has a whole video on touch and body brushing first thing in the morning. So touch, I like to body brush to activate my lymph. I like to massage some energizing oils. Maybe they have lemongrass, grapefruit, or mint in them. Press some energizing oils into my face. Oof. And even if I just do that, y'all, and maybe jot a few pages in my journal, I feel amazing. Why? because all my senses are turned on, which means I am turned on, right? Which means life force is moving through my body. Because turn on isn't just about being sexually turned on, it's being energetically turned on, emotionally turned on. It means you have prana, energy moving through your body. So simply by engaging all five senses, you've turned on. And when we're turned on, it's easier to tune in. Why? Because it's getting us out of the busy, frenetic, chaotic, crunchy mind brain. And when we activate the senses, we drop into the body. Yeah. Right? And into the bodies where we want to be to connect to the divine within us and the divine outside of us. Tip number 2, set up a space that feels inspiring to you. So it's intentional, right? You're not just rolling out an old beat up yoga mat in some corner of the room that there's space, that you also maybe do other practices there, that you've got the kids' toys all around. No, I'm a big proponent of dojos, right? Dojos, specific nooks in your house where you do specific things intentionally, ritualistically. I have specific nooks where I just read. I have specific nooks where I just do my morning practice. I have specific nooks where I just do my meditation, specific nooks where I only do work stuff, specific nooks where I only eat, and I try not to overlap all of them. I don't want social media energy at my altar. I don't want working energy at my altar. So my altar is where I do my sadhana. So make a space that's visually inspiring to you. Take time, get creative, look at Pinterest, right? Find things that really inspire you and then set it up. So for me, houseplants, as you can see, is a key foundation for me. For I love nature. You know, I typically live in the jungle in Costa Rica. I'm surrounded by nature, and I love to bring elements of that inside. So whether you go to your local nursery and get some houseplants or propagate, this snake plant right here is propagated from outside. Maybe you're a fan of some macrame designs. Think of a soothing color palette. If you want more energy, think of an energizing color palette and work around that. Get some plush rugs. I have a sheepskin rug, a faux sheepskin rug that I brought all the way from the US to Costa Rica because it's that important for me for my sadhana. Plush blankets, eye pillows for your meditation and shavasana, a beautiful journal, some new pens, right? A beautiful, inspiring mug for your morning elixir, right? And so this isn't about spending money and acquiring more things. This is about using intention and collecting and gathering sacred objects that feel beautiful and inspiring to you, because that combined with activating your senses is what will lure you onto your yoga mat. I promise you. It's lured me onto my mat over the years, time and time again. I also like to recommend to my clients to purchase fresh flowers or cut them from their backyard. When they go on a hike, cut some fresh flowers every single week, put it on your altar. This is an offering of beauty to the divine, to the goddess, right? To spirit, to universal love. Because again, sadhana is evoking divinity. So offering something to that divinity is so, so, so beautiful. And it's a ritual, right? Purchasing fresh flowers for yourself every week. You could also work with placing a mantra on your altar, right? So remember, the mantra from the beginning of this wisdom class was, I am worthy to receive unconditional love and devotion. Maybe you place that on your altar and you work with that, right? You let that mantra ride into your sadhana and you shift it as you feel inspired to. Okay, so creating a space of beauty, of intention that will motivate you to want to be in it, right? This is what makes it a ritual. The third tip to keep you motivated and inspired is to keep it simple. This looks like repetition, repetition, repetition. I do the same Kundalini Kriya for like months, 2 months, 3 months. And yes, that means sometimes I get bored with it, but that's good. We need to feel bored. We live in a culture where we don't feel bored very often. There's so much variety. I'm visiting the US from Costa Rica. I go to the grocery store. There's like 50 types of yogurt to choose from. You go to a grocery store in Costa Rica, you have like 2 types of yogurts to choose from. Which one feels more overwhelming on my nervous system? The 50 choices. So when I wake up in the morning, I have one of like 5 practices that I'll choose from, and I repeat them. Over the years, I've just repeated and repeated and repeated. And in Taoist tantric philosophy, they believe that insight comes through repetition, that deep embodied knowledge, aka wisdom, comes through repetition, right? That you start by doing the practice a handful of times or for a few weeks. And then eventually, when you gain that momentum, the practice starts to do you. So get out of the head brain thinking every day, which one do I want to do? Do I do this? Do I do that? And then eventually you don't do any of it. Just pick the same practice and repeat it. Like I said, with my mentees, with my clients, they repeat that foundational practice for 3 to 4 weeks before we even layer anything else on, before we even layer a nighttime ritual on. We start there. Let it get embodied. When we start to repeat something, we can start to see our limiting beliefs rise to the surface. We can start to see guilt and shame rise to the surface, right? Undeservedness rise to the surface. Boredom rise to the surface. These are all good things. We want to invoke these feelings to rise up so we can sit with them, face them, love them, see what they have to offer us, and release. So repetition. So this is why in this webinar, I included my foundational practice that I offer to clients so that you have a tool and that you can repeat it. Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. Take out the guesswork, spend a day or two setting up your space and start. Okay? Tip number 4 for motivation is digital detox. For those of you who have been following my work for a while, you know I'm a digital detox diva. I am all about digital detox. Daily practice, sensuality, and digital detox are the 3 pillars of my mentorship. That's how foundational they are to your embodiment journey, to your descent into your body, and to you remembering your feminine essences. So digital detox is really important with sadhana because remember, sadhana is a spiritual practice that evokes divinity. And so we're really tending to our auric field, right? Our energy body, our radiant body. So if we have Wi-Fi and WhatsApp messages and emails coming in and threads from our friend group and this and that and our bank statement and all of it in our field, it's going to be really challenging to access that divinity. So when we digital detox, we're turning down the noise so that we can listen. We're creating space within and without for grace. So what do I mean by digital detox? I mean that you're not on your devices until after your sadhana is complete. Complete. So remember, sadhana ideally is same time every day, first thing in the morning. So what I recommend to clients to start is to switch your phone off to airplane mode at night. Keep it on airplane mode. Do your morning sadhana. Complete your morning sadhana. Take a shower, take your dog for a walk, have your breakfast, and then go into the portal of your phone, social media, the threads, whatever it is that you need to do. Phone on airplane mode until your morning practice is complete. Another layer to that would be phone is outside of this room. The room, the space that you practice your sadhana, your phone isn't even in eyes reach. Studies show that if we can see our phone, even if it's on airplane mode, even if it's turned off, it takes our attention away, right? Because we give so much of our attention, of our psychic energy to that thing throughout the day that there's a cord, an energetic cord there. So I like to recommend to clients to keep it on airplane mode and keep it out of the space that you're practicing your grace. If you need more tips on digital detoxing, I've written a whole guide on how to do that, right? But again, if we keep it really simple, keep your phone on airplane mode and stay off of devices until after your morning practice. It's going to be challenging at first, right? There's a deep tie to devices. There's an ingrained tangling of connection. Am I going to miss out if I don't check my phone right away? But this is, out of all the tips that I'm offering you guys, this is the most impactful one I've found when I work with women that keeps them committed to their daily practice. And it gifts you the opportunity to actually see what comes up when you're not on phones and in social media and in your inbox for the first hour. What does it stir up in you? There's so much value in that. Again, it could be fear of missing out. It could be, but I'm needed 24/7, right? It could be, oh, I might miss out on an opportunity if I don't check my Instagram DMs. What if a client's messaging me? Ah, remember, you're offering yourself up to something greater than you, divine beloved, co creating with the divine. All is well. You don't need to check your phone right away. The last tip that I have for you, my loves, is to remember to practice self compassion. When you start this journey, when you begin this journey, when you continue this journey is a lifelong journey. Remember to be kind to yourself. Remember to offer yourself grace. Remember to celebrate along the way. Every micro moment, every time you show up, celebrate that. And you know what? Even on the days that you don't show up, let's say you have a new lover and you're like, breakfast in bed sounds really good right now. Let's say you oversleep your alarm. Let's say you just forget. There's going to be days that you don't practice, and that's okay. And I've found that the days that I don't practice are just as sacred as the days that I do. Why? Because they remind me why I practice. Like I said in the beginning, you do the practice, right? You gain the momentum, and eventually the momentum's there, the life force is moving, the radiance is unleashed. You feel whole, you feel nourished, you feel grounded, you feel at ease. And then you skip a day or two or three, whew, and you remember why you practice. So the days that you don't practice are just as valuable as the days that you do. The days that you don't practice are part of the sadhana to help you remember why you came here, why you show up every day for yourself. So offer yourself grace, offer yourself compassion. Remember that you are perfectly imperfect human. Bring in a little joy and laughter. Tell a friend, hey, I'm starting this. Can you help hold me accountable? Tell a coach, a mentor, a guide to help you. Ask for help and offer yourself grace. Because this is the part of the practice where we practice self compassion, self love, unconditional love. And eventually that ripples out into the way that we show up for those that we love so deeply. My loves, when you start to practice every single day, it sets the tone that you are worthy. It burns through the emotions of guilt and anger and shame and undeservedness and jealousy and insecurity and all those shadowy emotions that live in the lower three energy centers. Because you're flooding the body with light, with life force. You're unleashing the vitality within you, and you're showing up for yourself every day and tending to your inner garden. And there's so much beauty and devotion. I want to leave you with a quote. Your body is a living, breathing, sacred altar. And just like any temple, it must be tended to every day, reconsecrated. Exquisite self care, sweet woman, is what maintains your radiance. Daily devotion keeps you full, keeps you turned on, keeps you nourished, keeps you alive. It is your feminine service to the world. Self care is your superpower.